do namorado em 2003 fez com que ela enfrentasse um possível desastre de relações públicas. Ela namorava o modelo inglês James Gooden e naquele ano fez um show no palco do Prêmio Brits com Justin Timberlake. Durante o show, Justin agarrou o bumbum de Kylie, o que fez manchete no dia seguinte, apesar de nenhum dos dois apresentarem ou receberem um prêmio. Foi um fenômeno de publicidade e surgiram boatos que eles tinham passado a noite juntos. O namorado de Kylie, James Gooden, ficou aborrecido e foi direto para os tabloides para dizer o que sabia.
James Gooding's kiss and tell on Kylie Minogue was one of the all-time greats. He was a star of the stature of Kylie. It's rare you get kiss and tells on female stars on that scale. Even rarer to get one with someone who wasn't just a one-night stand, but someone who'd had a sustained relationship with her. I mean, we got that through two things, like persistent journalism and charm, and, let's be blunt about it, shed loads of money. What James Gooding told us was what the real Kylie was like. Icy, determined, career-obsessed, unemotional, hard work.
What's interesting about that is, even if he's right, even if that's all true, the public is so allied behind Kylie that they all came out against him for daring to speak up against her. You're not going to win in a war of words against someone who is so genuinely liked by the public as much as Kylie Minogue. There's no point in attacking her. Nothing is going to stick and you're just going to look bad.
We never heard of dicky birth from Kylie after the James Gooding story. She's a bit like Madonna. Never complain, never explain.
Claro que Kylie não ficou sozinha por muito tempo e logo foi fotografada com o ator franco-espanhol Olivier Martinez. Ele completava o novo look estilo Bardot que ela usava no seu vídeo Slow. Longos cabelos loiros, uma boca vermelha, cercada por homens bonitos na piscina.
He looked like a bad boy. I think we could all see that. I think we were all trying to yell at Kylie, you know, he's probably not going to work this one. But he had this very, very strong essence of cool about him. He never really played up to the cameras, and he didn't try to look too sexy. He always looked like he'd just crawled out of bed, really, you know, with that slight stubble and hair and everything like that. I think it was very grown-up sexiness, and that was the only thing that Kylie was missing in her repertoire.
A relação deles era cercada de boatos de infidelidade. Quando Olivier foi fotografado com várias mulheres famosas, a imprensa ansiava por chamá-lo de cachorro, e seu comportamento foi acompanhado de perto durante a batalha de Kylie contra o câncer. Em uma última tentativa de controlar a imprensa, Kylie decidiu pedir ajuda aos fãs e postou uma mensagem no seu site defendendo Olivier.
The sad thing about those two was that she was diagnosed with cancer. Now, I don't know what kind of stage their relationship was at, and something like cancer is the kind of thing that could break up a loving relationship anyway. And I think he got the rough end of the stick in his treatment by the press because you know, he did stand by her. It'd be a pretty nasty person who did dump somebody who was seriously ill. And when she got the all clear, the relationship came to an end, and then he was branded a love rat. And you know, I think it's more complicated than that.
Depois da separação, Kylie deve ter se sentido intocável e protegida de manchetes negativas e foi fotografada com o diretor de filmes de Hollywood, Alexander Damm. Foram publicadas fotos junto com entrevistas da esposa de Damm em casa grávida de 7 meses. O time de relações públicas de Kylie não sabia o que dizer sobre a relação dela e Alexander. Será que a doce Kylie tinha se transformado em uma destruidora de lares?
She's seen on a boat with a bloke whose wife is just about to give birth, who doesn't actually know where he is. He's being besieged by the press, and the only thing the poor woman can say is, like, I'm sure they're not having an affair. He directed her in a commercial. They're just good friends. They have a working relationship. I mean, what can the poor woman do?
It did spark a lot of headlines of what on earth are you thinking, Kylie? Because no one wants to see her as a marriage wrecker. I mean, if it was entirely innocent, you kind of want to say, what are you doing?
I can't believe that somebody who's been in the public eye for as long as Kylie didn't actually think, hang on, this is going to look a bit dodgy, isn't it?
It was extraordinary. She even put a statement out saying that nothing untoward was happening, that she doesn't do that. Kylie doesn't put statements out, hardly ever. It's got to be a really serious subject like it was with the breast cancer. So it's extraordinary that she did that. But it shows that she was obviously very worried about her reputation.
Kylie foi rápida em apaziguar os boatos desta vez. Mas depois de lutar contra o câncer, será que ela estava se sentindo mais invencível que nunca? E com seu relógio relógio biológico ticando, será que ela tentará de tudo para conseguir um homem?
When you come face to face with her and meet her, especially now knowing what she's been through with her breast cancer ordeal, you feel obliged to ask her nice questions about nice things and not go to dark places where she might have to relive awful ordeals.
Kylie's always said that she's desperate for children and that's something that she wanted to do, but I think it's an interesting story in a sense because it's a story of a lot of women of Kylie's generation who've gone for the career and then kind of only realised too late that probably kids and stuff doesn't happen unless you put the brakes on a bit earlier and make it happen. Really, she's an example of a modern woman who thinks that she can have it all, but in actual fact, she can't.
Kylie's closest friends and the man most often attributed to her success and her image that we now know is William Baker, and he recently put on a production of Rent in London where Kylie came to the first night, and afterwards there was a backstage after party and Kylie was talking to a woman who was about 42 now, and I heard some of their conversation. It actually was quite heartwarming, but their conversation went like this. The woman said to Kylie, "Darling, I had a baby when I was 40, so don't worry about it, there's still hope for you." And Kylie said, "Well, I'm absolutely desperate to have children. That's a wonderful story. I find that very heartwarming. I'm really glad, that it's still possible for me." So it seems to me that that's the one thing Kylie really, really wants in her life, and that's the thing that's missing.
A seguir, Kylie causa controvérsia com seu novo visual e poder de longevidade.
I hate it. I think it's absolutely terrible. It's almost like she's having a midlife crisis and she wants to be somebody else all of a sudden.
Mas durante quanto tempo ela pode manter o faz de conta?
I think for Kylie there's a definite end date to this and I think she knows it.